Have you ever found yourself pouring your heart and soul into helping others only to feel drained and unappreciated? It's a common dilemma. We're taught to be kind, to put others first. But what happens when that kindness turns into a one-way street? Welcome to Stoic Life Recipe, your guide to living a balanced and fulfilling life, inspired by ancient Stoic wisdom. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden dangers of being too nice. Let's explore together how to be kind without getting burned. Are you ready to rediscover the art of giving while preserving your own well-being? Imagine a world where you can be generous without feeling depleted. A world where your kindness isn't taken for granted. A world where you can give freely while still taking care of yourself. It's possible, and the Stoics knew the secret. So, if you're ready to break free from the cycle of overgiving and discover the true meaning of kindness, join us on this journey. 1. Too high hopes for people. Let's start by talking about expectations. It's natural to hope that if we do good, others will do the same in return. You help someone out, and deep down, you believe that one day, when you need support, they'll be there for you. But here's the harsh truth. People won't always meet your expectations. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus spoke about expectations and control. He emphasized that much of our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from how we perceive them. When you do something kind with the expectation of reciprocity, you are setting yourself up for disappointment because you are attaching your happiness to something outside your control. In his Enchiridion, Epictetus reminds us that we can only control our own actions, not how others respond. Epictetus would often stress that if you lend something like money to a friend, you should do so without expecting to get it back. He believed that the act of lending should be its own reward. This mindset ensures you aren't left feeling hurt or disappointed if the favor isn't returned. This approach is highly relevant in our relationships. Expecting others to reciprocate kindness places a burden not only on the other person, but also on yourself. And when people fail to live up to those expectations, it can lead to resentment. Instead, adopt the mindset of giving for the sake of the act itself, rather than for the outcome. So, rather than expecting someone to match your kindness, focus on giving without attachment. By doing this, you can avoid the emotional turmoil that comes from unmet expectations and live more peacefully. 2. You teach people to rely on you. If you're always the one people turn to for help, over time, they'll get comfortable. They'll start to expect it. And when they fall into this comfort zone, something interesting happens. They start doing less. This is what Stoicism warns against, enabling others to rely on us without helping them grow into their own strength. In Stoic philosophy, personal responsibility is key. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on how we should not only care for ourselves, but also encourage others to take responsibility for their own lives. When you constantly solve others' problems, you rob them of the opportunity to learn and grow from their experiences. Instead of empowering people, you become a crutch. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, but he didn't believe in solving everyone's problems for them. In fact, he advised against micromanaging. He encouraged his generals, advisors, and even the common people to take responsibility for their actions. By doing this, he created a more resilient and self-reliant society. If you find yourself constantly coming to the rescue, ask yourself, am I helping this person grow, or am I just making it easier for them to rely on me? Stoicism teaches that true kindness is about empowering others to stand on their own 2 feet, not keeping them dependent on us. While helping is an act of kindness, remember that overdoing it doesn't benefit anyone in the long run. If you teach others that you're always available to fix their problems, you end up neglecting your own needs and goals. 3. Your own goals. Take a back seat. Have you ever spent so much time helping others that you forget to focus on your own needs? Maybe you're the type of person who jumps at the chance to assist a friend, even if it means putting off your own tasks. In theory, that sounds noble, but in reality, it's a dangerous habit. Seneca, another well-known Stoic philosopher, would advise against neglecting your own goals in favor of others. In his famous letters, he wrote about how time is one of our most precious resources, and we must be mindful of how we spend it. If you constantly invest your time in others at the expense of your own progress, you're essentially squandering the most valuable asset you have. Seneca spoke about the importance of self-care and reflection. He often warned that we must be careful not to waste our time on trivial pursuits or other people's distractions. He believed that time should be managed wisely, and part of that management involves saying no to certain things so we can focus on our personal growth. This can be especially tough when you're avoiding something inside of you, maybe a fear or an unresolved issue. Helping others becomes a convenient distraction. But here's the thing, eventually you'll have to face yourself, and the longer you put it off, the harder it gets. In Stoicism, there's the concept of the inner citadel, a metaphor for the fortress of your mind. If you don't cultivate this inner fortress, you can lose sight of who you are and what you want in life. Constantly focusing on others leaves you vulnerable to losing touch with your core self, your values, and your goals. 4. People may view you as weak. One unexpected downside of being too nice is that some people may start to see you as weak. It sounds harsh, but when you're always bending over backward for others, some individuals, especially those who are looking to take advantage, might assume you'll never say no. They'll keep pushing boundaries, asking for more and more until you're overwhelmed. In Stoicism, setting boundaries is key to maintaining your strength and dignity. If you allow people to exploit your kindness, you end up damaging your self-worth. Stoicism teaches us that self-discipline and setting limits are essential to earning respect. Epictetus often spoke of the importance of inner strength and self-control. He encouraged his students to establish boundaries by focusing on what they could control, their reactions, emotions, and actions. He believed that allowing others to dictate your behavior, whether through flattery or coercion, was a sign of weakness. Saying no to others is not selfish, it's self-preservation. The Stoics knew that true power comes from within, and by drawing clear boundaries, you protect your mental and emotional energy. This not only benefits you, but it also fosters healthier relationships based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. 5. Attracting people who only want to take another challenge with being overly generous is that you might start attracting people who only want to take from you. When you're constantly giving, you emit a certain energy that draws in individuals looking for a handout. These aren't the types of relationships you want in your life. They're one-sided, draining, and leave you feeling used. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote that friendships must be built on virtue and mutual respect. If your kindness draws in people who are only interested in what they can gain from you, then you're not in a virtuous relationship, you're in a transactional one. The Stoics emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with people who add value to your life, not just those who take advantage of your generosity. Seneca often advised that a wise person should be careful about whom they allow into their life. He believed that true friends were those who shared your values and sought to support your growth, rather than those who used you for their own ends. In his essay on benefits, Seneca explained how we must offer help freely, but also be discerning about who we extend that help to. By practicing discernment and setting boundaries, you can protect yourself from toxic relationships and focus on building meaningful connections with people who reciprocate kindness and respect. 6. Risk of burnout and addiction. Another overlooked risk of being too nice is the possibility of burnout. Constantly giving without taking time to recharge can lead to physical and emotional exhaustion. You might find yourself turning to unhealthy habits to cope, whether it's overeating, excessive drinking, or other forms of escapism. These coping mechanisms provide temporary relief but end up creating even bigger problems down the road. In Stoicism, moderation is key. The Stoics recognize the importance of maintaining balance in life, avoiding extremes, and practicing self-care to prevent burnout. Marcus Aurelius, in his reflections, often spoke of the need to retreat into oneself to find peace and recharge. He recognized that even as an emperor, he needed time to recover and strengthen his mind. Marcus Aurelius made it a practice to withdraw from the demands of his imperial duties to spend time reflecting and meditating. He believed that by regularly stepping away from the noise and chaos of life, he could maintain his inner strength and avoid burnout. Likewise, you need to create space in your life to recharge. Whether it's taking time off, engaging in a hobby, or simply spending time alone, make sure you're not constantly giving at the expense of your own well-being. If you neglect yourself, you risk burning out, and once that happens, it's much harder to recover. 7. The Stoic solution. Balance kindness with boundaries. So what's the solution? The Stoics believed that virtue lies in balance. Kindness is a virtue, but so is wisdom, self-discipline, and courage. The key is to strike a balance between being kind and being assertive. You can still be generous without letting people take advantage of you. The Stoics would advise that you give what you can, but not at the expense of your own well-being. Set clear boundaries. Practice saying no when you need to, and don't feel guilty about it. Remember that true kindness doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. It means offering help in a way that's sustainable for both you and the other person. By following these principles, you can maintain your kindness without losing yourself in the process. Conclusion. Kindness is one of the greatest virtues we can practice, but like all things, it requires balance. Too much giving without boundaries can lead to frustration, burnout, and even feelings of resentment. The wisdom of the Stoics teaches us to be mindful of our kindness and generous acts, ensuring that we are not neglecting our own well-being or allowing others to take advantage of us. If you want to keep being kind, do so with wisdom. Establish boundaries, set clear expectations, and most importantly, take care of yourself. Remember, kindness without self-care is unsustainable. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on living a balanced, fulfilling life.